I think we could sum it up by saying, you don't know what you don't know. So learning from somebody that actually is experienced those things has made those failures, because that's really where we learn from, is all of our failures.
Hey, Anna, do you think people are listening? Yeah, why wouldn't they be? We make business so fun. Don't we? In that case, let's introduce ourselves. Hey, it's Anna and Selena and the 15-ish minute coffee chat podcast. Talking business doesn't have to be boring. So dive into our coffee chat conversations and learn something new for your small business.
Welcome to season 14 of the 15-ish minute coffee chat, a conversation providing tips for every entrepreneur and business owner.
Entrepreneurship can be overwhelming, but mentorship might just be the key to navigating the chaos. Many entrepreneurs dive headfirst into their ventures without enough of a plan, often finding themselves overwhelmed by the endless to do lists and roles they have to juggle. So, how do you stay focused, balanced, and successful as a small business owner? This week, we're talking to Leslie Coffey, VP of Military Engagement for American Corporate Partners, or you may see their acronyms ACP, an organization who pairs hundreds of mentors and mentees each year. Learn how mentorship can provide clarity, guidance, and accountability to keep you on track. Well, hey, Anna, good morning.
Good morning, Selena. How are you today?
I'm fabulous because we're talking to Leslie today. I
I know.
absolutely love what ACP does. And I know you and I both took advantage of being mentored, and it's been one of our favorite things. And I and again, we talked about this with Leslie before we hit record today. Is I just there's my dog. She's excited for the convo too. But meeting Leslie at the Military Influencer Conference last year in Atlanta in person, when you know somebody, it was just fabulous. And she just she spoke at a luncheon, and I just like my respect for her grew even more. You know?
Because you can see her passion for what she does. And she has really seen the power of people who are mentored and the success they see from it and the growth
Yeah.
they experience from it. And it's funny because I remember having a conversation with her once where I'm just summing it up a little bit, but it was like the mentorship didn't always end in the way people expected it, right? Like it
Yeah.
didn't always turn out to be the results that they'd originally gone into that mentorship for.
Yeah.
And but you still, it was like where they needed to be because their clarity was found. Anyway, I'm excited to talk with
Yes.
her. Okay, we have a
Yeah.
call to action. I'm going to throw it up
Yes.
here. We want
Yes.
to know from our listening audience today, if you're here listening with us today, do you have a mentor? Drop it in the chat, a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you've had a mentor, you can drop that in there
Yeah.
too, right? Let us know like where you've been in this process, uh,
Yeah.
on the receiving or even maybe the giving end of mentorship too.
Are you a mentor to somebody? Because I, yeah, man, it's kind of funny. And Leslie like helped answer this question long ago when I was just like, I don't think I'm big enough for a mentor. And Leslie had said, no, a mentor is for every stage of wherever you're beginning. And I think it was just her kind of, I don't think she realized the permission she had given me to
Yeah.
accept the gift that ACP does and gives to the military community with this mentorship program. And I was just like, and it was by far, I love my experience. Okay, anyway, so that was our call to action, guys. Do what Anna says. We're going to bring up Leslie's fabulous banner. Hold on, guys. I'm on like 10 cups of coffee. Coffee. Anna,
Well,
there we
okay,
go.
let me tell you a little bit about Leslie. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read this bio. Here's what I'm going to tell you about Leslie. Leslie has a personality that just encompasses everyone. She is so welcoming and kind, and she knows her stuff when it comes to mentorship. I also want you to know that she has a lot of experience in guiding people, especially transitioning service members and military spouses, right? Which is how Selena and I both came into contact with Leslie. And I will tell you also, you can see this list of awards she has down here, all these things that people have given her. And that is because of the intense amount of effort she puts in to what she does as leading this VP of Military Engagement for American Corporate Partners. And last but not least, she survived 30 years in the US Army as a military spouse. And that right there just deserves a clap all on its own. She's got 4 kids aged 15 to 27 and a granddaughter, which I love. We gave her confetti.
I did. She doesn't even look like a grandma. She's so youthful and young. And I'm like, wait, what? Anyway, continue on.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to read her bio because she likes to just be talked about in that manner and not read about. We're going to bring Leslie up.
Yes.
Bring her into the conversation with us. Are we ready?
You guys, I'm going from like a glass of emotions, and I'm all like merp to embarrassed. Anyways, you guys are way too kind to me, and I adore you both. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, you're amazing. Thanks for just being amazing and just all the things. Okay. One, we want to say we wanted to do even more with the bio, but Leslie was like, no, don't. That's too, like Anna was saying. And I just think that just shows the humbleness and the amazingness of who you are, Leslie. And you always are like, it's not about me. It's about other things, other people.
I was just thinking, we got to bring down this bar of expectations.
No.
You can't disappoint the audience. You got to like,
if I had more warning about your bio, wanted me to read your full bio, here's what I would have done. I would have taken that, I would have thrown it into an AI tool. I would have said, make this the sassiest 4 lines you possibly can. And that's what I would have said. But I didn't have time to do that. So next time I have you on any type of show, that's what we're doing. I'm going to make you the sassy 4-line bio, and we're going to see what it says about Leslie Coffey.
I can bring the sass without AI.
Let's hope today's conversation, that's what's going to happen with Leslie. Okay, look, before we get started, we always love, Anna's going to pull up our little coffee cup selfie banner, and we're going to hold up our mugs, and you guys are going to be, so I'm going to switch because I think you need to make sure you're.
Can you move me, or move me down there or something? Oh, wait.
So look, you guys, we weren't lying. We were not lying that we love ACP. So on 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. We love ACP and we love what they do. And I think the big thing is no matter what, whether you're civilian or military, the conversation today is about mentorship and why it's so important. And we just so happen to know somebody fabulous that can talk about that. And if you are military, Leslie is the place and ACP is the place to be. So let's get started. We're going to put you into this fabulous thing like this. And we're gonna start the conversation.
I feel like you go ahead. Start like this, just gaze at you and be like, "Hi, Leslie, how are you today?"
She's like, "You guys are ridiculous."
Okay, all right. I do have a question for you. So today we titled this show "The Power of Mentorship in Business," and we did that purposefully because both Selena and I, as we mentioned earlier, have been through the ACP mentorship program. And to this day, the lessons I learned from my mentor have stuck with me. And that was more than 2 years ago that we finished our mentorship. But I still feel like I could reach out to my mentor anytime and ask another question. That's how much investment this person put into me, which I love. So the first question that we have for you today is, why is mentorship such a powerful tool? And we're going to say, especially for entrepreneurs starting or growing a business.
They've made the failures for you in advance. So they're smoothing that journey. They can walk next to you, in tandem with you. They're a sounding board, they're a support system, they're your hype person. But they're going to have so many tools in their toolkit, and really the process, what makes sense, especially if they've been successful along the way, because it's so overwhelming. There are just countless resources out there. and all the things you need to do as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, whether you're launching or growing a business, you're wearing all these hats. How do you prioritize the things? You need somebody with experience that you can chat through these things, that you can brainstorm ideas. Most of the time, entrepreneurs coming to us, budding entrepreneurs, they have a list of all these businesses that they want to start. Like they've got 10 different ideas. So how do you go about figuring out which one makes sense? How do you go about that process and in really learning from somebody that's done it? That's how you best. That's how you really can save yourself some heartache, if you will, maybe save yourself some funds. And what we focus on is helping them to make veterans and spouses, helping them to make informed decisions, empowering them to really make those informed decisions and prevent catastrophic mistakes. Because unfortunately, that's the other side of business that we see, over leveraging and things with the family and catastrophic mistakes. That's what we want to prevent.
Okay, so
Yeah. Can I wait? I want to just jump in real fast because you said a word, and we've had other guests say this too, and I think it's so important, right? Failure is part of business, and it's going to happen. So it is nice to learn from other people's. Our last guest said failing forward,
Mhm.
and so I just love that you. I'm not saying I love that word, but it's a reality of business, and so when you get the chance to learn, ask about the failures, right? Because it's gonna happen. There are gonna be that thing. And I just wanted to say that because with my mentor, she goes, I loved ours because we talked about her failures. And she's like, this is why it's not gonna work for you, Selena. Because I kept thinking, but if I do it,
Right.
if I do it, right? And it was nice for her to talk me through that and explain, here's my experience with that. So I just wanted to say one, thank you for just bringing up that word, because I think it's just part of business, and I think we have to
Mhm.
accept it. And it's just
Right.
nice when you can have somebody coaching and guiding you through theirs. And it's like a parent when you're trying to tell your kid, "Hey, look," and they're like, "No, no,
Mhm.
you did it different." So anyway, sorry, Anna. I just wanted to. I was like, that brought me to a question when she said that.
yeah, no, I think that what Leslie said is so true, right? Like, I think back to my mentorship experience, and there was the, hey, I tried this, it didn't work out. But I'll tell you, one of the biggest learning moments was she said to she said verbally the things that I was thinking but didn't want to say out loud. So she said to me, "You don't love that. Why are you doing it?" And
Mm.
I was like, because it makes me the most money. And she's like, is that your
Mhm.
priority? Because everything you said up to this point is that is not your priority. Your priority is this. And so if you continue to spend all your time and energy on this thing you don't love, you will never have time to grow this into your money maker. And this is what you do love. And that was that aha moment of, for me, of being being put in a place where I could fail disastrously and I had to make a choice, right? But I loved the guidance that she gave me, and just being able to recognize that, hey, you're doing great just like you are. You can continue the way you are, but if your goal is to feel the passion in what you're doing and to love going to work every day and to love owning your business, then you're going down the wrong path. And that was one of the biggest aha moments we had. And here's the funny part. This, I love to tell this story because she said, in fact, this conversation has opened my eyes. I don't love this, and I'm getting rid of it next year. And she did. And we're talking about like a multi-million dollars part of her business. She's like, I don't love doing it. I dread it. I hate it. And so I'm going to follow my advice I'm giving to you. And this is
Wow.
part of that like relationship we built, where she was like, it was almost like this symbiotic back
It
and
is.
forth.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a reciprocal relationship. It all starts with, first of all, the commonality of growing something, building and growing something, and then the trust factor that comes in, but just the willingness to be you. There's also keys to it. You have to be like you were. You have to be vulnerable and transparent. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think also you were receptive to the feedback. A mentor can guide you along the way and don't touch the hot stove. That's a hot stove. But if you're not receptive to it, then you're not going to be able to put their wisdom and their years of experience that they have more than you in a certain area into practice.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because a mentor, the mindset behind choosing to be a mentor, for me, it feels very altruistic, right? Hey, I have something I can do for you. But you also know that even people that have been wildly successful still feel that imposter syndrome, right? So I love this process of them being able to bring their expertise, but also knowing that there's a side of them probably going, try it. Let's see what happens. Let's do this together. And they just invest and they're like, I'm ready. And if that doesn't work, I got another plan B that we can talk about over here on the side.
And honestly, what that is at the end of the day, that's permission to just play. It's permission
Yes.
to play with things and see how it works out. And then you learn, right? It is an attempt. That's the failure. First attempt at learning, you learn and then you adjust and you try again. But at the beginning, it's the permission structure of just letting yourself and give yourself grace. If you
Yeah.
go in expecting, yeah, it's not a one straight trajectory, right? It doesn't, no path, no career path or business is just straight. So giving yourself the grace to fall down and learn and try again. And I think it's the mentor saying, I'm going to be there alongside you every step of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I do. I know I said that earlier on why I finally took that step to get a mentor was because you had made either it was a video or a post many long ago. And you were saying like you had made that comment back when we had whatever when we were saying like, oh, I'm not big enough in my business to need a mentor. And
Mhm.
I think it's using that word permission because I think we put so many rules on ourselves. Like when I hit here, then I can be this, or when I can hit here. And I do remember and appreciate, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because Leslie said we can.
Mhm.
Don't wait. Anyway, Anna, I don't know. I love the whole conversation about mentorship, and actually being part of your program has allowed me. And I mentor at another organization, and it's all these college kids and high school kids. And it is interesting to receive and then to give.
Mhm.
And they're so grateful and they're so like, I just thank you so much for being part of our, it's just an amazing thing. Why don't we jump into our second question, Anna? What do you think?
Yeah. So it really flows well into it. So as
Mhm.
you are looking for mentorship, what is it that you would say to someone like, hey, these are the kinds of things you need to look for? Because there's formal mentorship programs, and then there's you just fall into it, friendships that end up in mentorship. Or you can ask someone, say, I admire what you do. Would you be willing to do this? And it's not necessarily a formal arrangement through an organization like ACP, right? It's more of a ad hoc, please be my friend request amongst business colleagues or friends or acquaintances or whatever. So what would you tell someone who's thinking about mentorship? What characteristics do they need to be asking or looking for?
So I would say definitely caring and being willing to invest not only time, because of course that time we can't give back, but just also just being vested in their success. Someone outside of your own, right? Be invested in their success and supporting them along the way. It's important to ask a lot of questions. It's important to not try to tip the scale, if you will. I think mentoring is more about helping them to discover themselves, giving them the tools for that epiphany, like you had, Anna, giving them the tools to see the clarity, giving them the tools to figure out if a certain path is not the right fit, or if a certain business model, or if a certain whatever it is not the right fit. I think that is really important. For example, my mentor, she was like, I'm not sure if that's the right fit for you. But at the time, it was a shiny object. It was the bright, shiny object, and everybody was going a certain direction. So what did Leslie do? Didn't listen. And I went over here and I pursued the bright, shiny object. And lo and behold, my mentor was right. Who'd have known, right? Now I know where my kids get their hard headedness from.
So true.
But she saw something within me that I didn't see within myself. And really also, you have your antenna when you're mentors, you have your antenna up, and you can just, you see their eyes light up when they speak about something. Whereas maybe, Anna, whatever you were doing the other, that was maybe not the right passion. It's almost robotic and kind of, right? But when somebody is like lit and that's their love labor, then you'll see it. You'll see it within
Yeah.
it, because that's not something that, it's internal.
Yeah.
And so for a mentor to be able to see that, and a mentor to be able to grab it and pull it and help you to flourish, help you to light that fire, help you to stoke it, that's really what it's all about. And then direction, giving some bumpers. They may not listen, and it's okay. We got to let them scrape their knee along the way, but a little bit of guardrails, if you will, and guidance.
You know what I love about what you said is that just thinking back to my personal experience, and I think that this is relatable outside of that, even, is that it was okay. She made it clear it's okay if you can't pursue your passion now because the money is more important right now, right? Like, she made it okay to not be, because sometimes entrepreneurs, small business owners, people who start their own thing, right? There's this feeling of, I have to do this because it's my passion, it's what I love, it's this. Sometimes it's because you got to pay the bills, or sometimes it's because you're saving for this certain something, or, and it's not necessarily the passion. Like, that's what's going to, I think, continue the process for the longevity in some sense. But what she did is she gave me permission to say, it's okay to keep doing this how you're doing it now, as long as you are honest with yourself and say, there's going to be drudgery going to work every day a little bit, because this isn't what you love, but it is paying your bills. You know what I mean? And so,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so it was nice to be able, those, I feel like those are those guardrails you're talking about, where it's, here's the bumpers of where, between where you're at right now. And you get to choose which path or which direction or what you're going to do with that. I'm not going to tell you one way or another is better, because it's ultimately the mentee's decision. But it was, I would never have come to that conclusion on my own. Maybe in the back of my head, I'd be thinking it, but it was nice to have somebody else speak it out loud for me.
And it's also being able to identify what season of life you're in, what you need to prioritize. For example, do you need to prioritize income now while you're building that passion project on the side? And it's being able to talk through those things. What is the needs? What are your priorities? So that all starts even before a mentorship. You got to really do some inventory, some self-assessment. When you're a mentee, for us, we call them proteges. You want to think through, what am I trying to get out of this? Whether it's a one-time conversation or a year-long relationship, like in our program, what am I trying to get? What are the goals? The other thing on the protege side of the house, you need to recognize mentors are not mind readers. So communicating, and I would say on the mentor side of the house, allowing them a safe space to be vulnerable, a safe space to communicate what their needs are, and then be honest about the areas that you are able to assist. And if maybe there's an area you have a blind spot or you don't have specific experience with, potentially somebody in your network can fill that gap.
Leslie, can I just share one of the things that I really appreciated about the ACP mentorship program was that it said, hey, sometimes you don't have a connection with the mentor, and it's okay to say to us, hey, can I try somebody else? And I liked that there's that advocacy for saying, hey, you got to find the right person for you.
Mhm.
And I just want to implore others, if they are going through whatever kind of mentorship, if that, don't force it. Don't force a
Mhm.
mentorship with somebody if it's not a right fit, or if they're not making the impact, maybe won't be there because you're not conversating, you're not being vulnerable, you're not being open. All of those things should happen when you enter into mentorship. So if you're not, then you're not going to get the full gamut of what mentorship can bring to your professional life.
Yeah.
I just
And
wanted
then,
to point that
yeah, and
out.
at the end of the day, time, it's so limited. So we want to make sure on ACP side, we want to make sure we get it right so that we're not, neither party's wasting time, right? Sometimes relationships, people don't gel, and that's okay. We just go back to the drawing board and see what we need to change about the search criteria, who might be a better fit. But in mentorship relationships in general, our time is such a finite resource. So we want to make the most of it. And there's, like you said, no reason to force it if it's not natural.
For
Right.
for someone who is brand new to mentorship, Leslie, is there like a best practices in terms of meet once a month, spend an hour together, have an agenda? You know what I'm saying? Like if they're not in a formal program or that it's dictated like the goals for the meeting and time frames and that kind of thing, what would you recommend to an entrepreneur that's, hey, I really want to ask this person to mentor me? What should I be asking for?
I think throughout the entrepreneurial journey, it really will depend on where you are. Are you in just the ideation phase and are you just needing a sounding board to think through, and potentially there's homework each time and things for you to go and research on your own and you come back around. I think everybody's journey is so unique. You can't really put a specific timestamp or cadence in there, but being flexible and being willing to adjust on the mentor side or the protege side on depending what you're working on, being willing to adjust your cadence to that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just this came up, 10-minute conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's more, let's do a deep dive. Let's hop on a Zoom and let me share my screen and let's go through this together. I really need to think through and talk through this out loud. So everybody's just so unique in their entrepreneurial journey that where they are, they may have been in business for 10 years and they're just trying to get to the next level. Or they may have a certain something what like your mentor was didn't have a certain strength in the area that you had the strength. And so that was something that she may could use some guidance in. And so I think it really just that is the beauty of our program specifically is because it is customized. Recognizing everybody is totally unique and their journey is unique. So we want to customize it based off of that.
I love that because I feel like that's just so important for anyone who's thinking about mentorship to realize about themselves, right? There isn't a standard formula that's going to take you from where you're at to success, whatever that is for you, right? Like it's not there's not a journey that you have to go through in order to make it. You have to it's going to be dependent on your personalities and your time frame and the all of those things that you just talked about, which I think we forget sometimes. Like we think, oh, if I'd only done it that way, then I would be here. And that's not necessarily the case.
And one thing I think it's that we often forget is to pause and look how far we've come. Take stock of how far you've come. Celebrate. I am, maybe it's because I'm remote and I'm just in the middle of four walls by myself, but I feel there's no milestone too small to celebrate. There's enough going on within the world, right? Let's give yourself some credit on the things that you have accomplished. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be $500,000 this or that. It's the little wins along the way. And too often we forget how many people are where we were and take stock and take inventory of how far we have come.
You guys, you just got a little bit of mentorship from Leslie right now. Like, she just gave you some great sound advice, because that is so important. You're absolutely right. We often forget to celebrate just the little things.
I'm going to throw a second call to action out there. If you're listening to this,
Yeah.
what's a win you've had?
Yeah.
Tag Anna and Selena on it. Tag Leslie on it.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us a win, because listening to you, that's where the goosebumps start. And I was like, she's
Yeah.
so right. And then you
Yeah.
get excited, and then you get excited to keep going. And that's the power of mentorship, right?
Yeah.
You realize something, and that makes you excited to keep going
Yeah.
and to keep
Yeah.
pushing, even when it's hard, even when
Yeah.
it's tiring, even when it's expensive, even when all the things that
Right.
can go wrong. That's those little things like what you just said are what then give you that boost to keep going. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Mm.
Yeah.
Leslie. What a
Yes.
beautiful way to finish our conversation.
Segue. Oh, I know. So, okay, we always ask our guests, like, hey, can you share something that can be useful for a toolkit for somebody's business? And Leslie shared this with us, and we're going to have her kind of share what this is. Go ahead, Leslie.
Wonderful. So the Village, ACP Village, it's a repository of not only best in class on demand resources. You're building the thing at 2 in the morning or 6 in the morning. You can access it when it's convenient for you. But there's also a village of supporters there to answer questions on demand. So you can almost think of it like Reddit, but it's safe because it's just ACP.
Reddit but safe. Love it.
Right. For example, we had someone that said, wait, I've got a woodworking business and I'm having terrible time with marketing. I could really use some marketing help. A mentor's there and said, hey, I've got 40 plus years of marketing. Let's hop on a call. So that's just a brief example in there. When you talk about sharing your wins, we share weekly wins. How did you do it? Learning from others' journey. But for the resource part, the library is just incredible because our partners that support entrepreneurs, they've provided the courses and put them in one-stop shop for you within the village. So like Visa and McKinsey and Goldman Sachs and Google, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Amazon, Travelers, SBA, Vetrepreneur, and so many more. The courses they have provided them, and then you can filter by what is your stage of business. I'm planning, I'm building, I'm launching, I'm growing, or how's my learning? What kind of a learner am I? Do I prefer listening? Do I prefer reading? Would I prefer an article? Would I prefer a video? Would I prefer a podcast? Do I need some calculators? It's all in there and you can filter and play around. And then lastly, we have live events, which is so fun. We have meet and greet so you can meet other entrepreneurs, both mentors and veterans and spouses that are just getting started. If you're an entrepreneur and you'd like to mentor some veterans and spouses, please join and you can introduce yourself and answer questions along the way. Maybe you have a subject matter expert in some area of business. So, and you can even, probably one of my favorite parts is you can share resources as well. So if you have your own course or you have your own whatever, or there's an event coming up, like a small business administration have something coming up, you can share it. So we make it user friendly for everyone.
Thank you for like knowing that community is an important part of like our journey, and then you guys creating that space. And I joined last night because I was like, wait, how have I not heard of this part? And I went in, and it's a pretty active community, and it's a large community. So I'm really excited to like dive in more. And I'm not saying make a new bestie, but just finding other people to network with and learn from. And yeah, I love it. And I highly recommend, guys. I'm just saying, if not from Leslie, Selena joined and is there. And I want you to, if you're there, tell me hello so I know you're there, because anyway, it's fabulous and I can't wait.
And if you're interested in joining the ACP Village, you're going to find it in our show notes. So
Yeah.
head to annandselena.com/blog. And we always do a blog for every show we put out. So look for Leslie's mentorship blog, and it's going to have direct links to everything you need to find ACP, the
Yep.
ACP Village, any resource we've talked about in our show today. It will be linked in there. So you don't have to go searching because we don't want to make it hard for you.
Hey, Leslie, tell everybody where you want them to continue conversations with you or ACP.
So me individually, it's going to be on LinkedIn. That's probably where I'm going to be most active. And the other socials are ACP socials. Please follow us on LinkedIn. Definitely join the village, introduce yourself. But most importantly, when you're walking through this journey, please don't self-select out of getting some sound advice or letting somebody walk alongside you. It's daunting, and you don't have to do it alone. I think that's the number one thing that I would share.
I love how you said
Oh,
that. Don't
I know.
self-select out of this
Oh,
option of having
man.
somebody walk beside you. I feel like that's the sound bite from this show. That's going to be the t-shirt for this show. Don't
Leslie,
self-select
yes.
out letting someone walk beside you.
Yes, Leslie, we have since our season 1, we have always thought like there's all these little gold nuggets that our guests share. That is, and we're one day we're going to open a store, a t-shirt
I
store. It's
love
going
it.
to have all these entrepreneurs, and that is exactly what I totally thought the same thing. I was like, oh, that's the t-shirt. That's
Yeah.
the t-shirt for
And
Leslie,
it's going to be from Sassy Leslie right at the bottom
Yeah.
there. Sassy
Yeah.
Leslie
Yeah.
said, don't self-select out.
AKA
Oh my
Grandma.
gosh.
That's right,
Yes. Oh my God.
Grandma.
Of course, that's your word. I love it. So before Anna tells me, I just want to say, Leslie, thank you so much for coming on, having this conversation with us today, sharing how important mentorship is for any business person and even professionally. You can also find a mentor, guys. Like it doesn't, but thanks anyway. And Anna's she always signs out because I get, like, I don't know how to
Selena
stop
likes to chitter chatter her way through the ending. So, Leslie, I
all the
also
time.
want to say thank you. If you are interested in more information about Anna and Selena, find us at annandselena.com. We love LinkedIn. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and all of your favorite podcast platforms. Come find us, hit like, subscribe, share, all the things. And we can't wait to see you on the next 15-ish minute coffee chat. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh my gosh. Did they actually make it to the outro music? I told you this would work, Selena. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in to today's show. Now head on over to annaandselena.com to listen to more of the 15-ish minute coffee chat. We've got over 100 episodes, all geared to making your businesses more fun and profitable.